Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa. Every third Thursday, we get to chat with our friend Lea Brovedani. She is known as the Trust Architect. She's a speaker, a workshop facilitator on trust, and she's also a top thought leader on trust, recognized by the organization Trust Across America. And she's also the author of two books. One is Trust Me, Restore Belief and Confidence in an Uncertain World. Definitely a book to read now. And she's also the author of Trusted: Secret Lessons from an Inspired Leader. So go to her website, thetrustarchitect.biz. And of course, if you go to blendradioandtv.com, you can listen to her past interviews there and also read some of her articles. But welcome back, Lea. How are you?
I'm good. We just moved into a new condo that we bought. And so I think that the topic right now has a lot of energy for me because I thought of putting kind of a blank screen behind me, but instead we've got my backdrop in one of my rooms with stuff that's still being unpacked. So it's really, when I say that I just moved in, it's really true.
Yeah, and I think this is the topic is real estate,
Right.
trust in real estate, and there's so much to it. I mean, we've been swindled, Nancy. You and I know about that. We've been, I think it's an interesting time because real estate's kind of fluctuating. It went really, really high as everybody was like, oh, we want to go out and move out to the country. And then it's like, and then at the same time, like there are corporations sitting with half of their building not being occupied anymore. So there's a lot of fluctuation. Where do we go from here? And the trust factor, I think, between a real estate agent, maybe like a condo, when you purchase, even if you're getting an apartment. I mean, the last place when Nancy and I lived in Tucson, we got an apartment because we knew we were getting back on the road. We were just stopping for a year or two to redo our websites. And a friend actually went and looked at the apartment for us, and she saw king snake in this beautiful garden area and said she'll take it. Then Nancy and I will, they'll move in because they had a wildlife sanctuary area
It was
out there
awesome.
and all of that. So it was really cool. But did they
not would have been my criteria to move into a place because it has a king snake?
No, but they're
good.
awesome.
King snakes are
They're
good.
awesome.
But the company changed management and things did not go well. In fact, everyone that we had befriended in that complex has left since. Because
everybody moved out.
The other thing people are going through is, I think during COVID, people weren't paying their rent. There were all those things. And then also places are jacking up their prices so much that if you can't afford to buy, can you afford to rent? No. So we have a market that is actually kind of swimming in good, bad, and the ugly, right? So what was it like selling your house in Pennsylvania and then going, okay, because you're you've also got Nova Scotia that you're dealing with too, right? So this is, I don't know if I have the patience to do what you're doing.
So we sold our home in Philadelphia and bought a apartment style condo in Savannah. And so the logical question that people asked us is, why Savannah and who do you know there? And the answer was no one. We knew no one. And we had done our research on the city and we liked what it offered, and it's young and it's not a huge city and it's easy to get around. People are really friendly. Housing prices are affordable. So when we left Philadelphia, we left a really hot real estate market. We had 1 hour showing on, like, the realtor had listed it, but we had one Sunday where we had 1 hour of people who could come through the house. People were lined up the block. It was just pretty awesome. And then we had people coming through the house. We had 6 offers all over asking. And picked, honestly, part of the reason we picked one is that I can be I loved the house, and I felt like I wanted someone to be in the house that would appreciate it. And so it was a young family. And that was part of the reason, you have a choice of who you can pick. I love the idea of laughter in the house. And the house was very, 2/3 of an acre and a fenced yard. And I could see kids growing up, and there was a swimming pool for them. So that had a lot.
And a labyrinth.
And a labyrinth. Yeah. I hope they keep the labyrinth. But part of it was,
Awesome.
Going through, we trusted our realtor.
Mm.
And we trusted her because we knew her. She had actually found the property for us. Over the 10 years that we had been there, Lori always kept in touch with us, and it was like Christmas cards and, like Thanksgiving, she would send out little things about pies and everything. So, and she would just check in on us. So she created an opportunity for us to get to know her on a very personal level. We felt that she cared very deeply, and she made a commitment. When I called her and said, okay, Lori, we're ready to sell the house. She said, so how many people have you contacted to, who am I in competition with? And I went, okay, so should I have called someone else? Because no, you're it.
Oh,
But part of it was because we had developed such a level of trust with her, and we knew that she would have our best interest at heart. And we knew that she would tell us the truth about what needed to be done, because the price that we had initially said we want to sell it for, she went, I don't think you should. Here's what I think you should do. And we trusted her so much, we listened to her.
oh, wow. See, that's a huge deal, because real estate, that's one of those big, we talk about commitment as one of your 5 tenets of trust. And
Right.
a house is probably the big, other than kids, obviously, and pets, a house is really one of the biggest financial commitments, and not just financial, it's a commitment of quality of life of where you live. And I know you've lived all over the world, like Nancy and I, it's, but it's still a commitment, because quite frankly, moving sucks. It's a pain in the rear end.
It's a big emotional.
I can attest to the moving sucks reality.
Yeah, because you're still in that unpacking mode, right?
Yeah. And it just box yourself up into boxes, and then you start, oh, I should throw this out. Then you're in 2 minds about that. And then one day, here comes the trucks, and you better be ready, and then you watch how sometimes things are put onto the truck. It's not like gently with care. It's like, throw them in there.
That's the other part. Yeah. The moving people, you have to have trust with them. So all of this is relationship, right? And communications. Communication is, part of one of your 5 tenets too. So the moving company, then starting new relationships when you get to your new place. So what would you say is the biggest tenet of trust that plays into the whole real estate, whether you're purchasing, selling, or moving? You did all 3?
Yeah, well, the 5 are caring, commitment, consistency, competence, and communication. So they work together. But from my perspective, what I've really wanted was communication, because it drives me up the wall when people just assume that you should know something, and they don't get in touch with you, and they don't communicate what's going on. Even if it's bad news, I want to know. I want someone to call, and I trust people more if they give me the bad news than if they try and hide it. Someone who hides bad news, you've lost. You've lost my trust.
That's
so
bad news.
When we bought this place, we bought it without seeing it. We had our realtor go through it. The realtor that we used to buy this place was really pleasant. Probably not someone I'll use again. From my perspective, I didn't hear enough about what was wrong with the place. I heard what was right with the place.
So that you would buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to hear that, oh, the kitchen is crappy. Here's the truth about the kitchen. The cupboards are probably the cheapest builder's grade you could possibly get. The cupboards don't go into the corners, you know, like there's all this wasted
Oh,
space that,
That's Nancy's thing. She used to design kitchens. Don't
Yeah.
start
Oh.
her. She won't stop all day long. Trust me.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
That's all I
A
can
poorly
say.
designed kitchen is not fun.
It's no, and not only are they not fun, they're actually incredibly dangerous. If now that we go to different house sitting things and you see where the stove is in relationship to the refrigerator and the sink, there's a triangle that has to happen to make
Right.
a safe and efficient, logical kitchen.
yeah.
Otherwise, you hurt yourself and things can catch on fire. I mean, it
I could see that. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. And
Especially
this
if I'm
kitchen
cooking.
is, what's that?
I said, especially if I'm cooking.
No, but I
The
mean,
smoke
there are
detector
things,
could go off.
it-
So I'm-
yes,
It's ready.
But
Hit the alarm.
it's cool. But this is, I know that it gets into the contractor part of it, which we're going to have to do a whole other show on, because I know
Yeah.
people are dealing with, both sides are dealing with, you know, supply issues, not enough worker issues, and then the homeowner purchasing or wanting the service going through delays. So we definitely want to cover that on a future show too, and touch on it today. But going through the kitchen, so she wasn't clear. She was going for the sale versus really taking care of a customer need, which means then you start to lose the trust factor.
of
Yeah,
course.
and you know, maybe like I understand it. Like we don't regret that we bought the place, but we didn't realize how many renovations we'd have to make
That's
when
expensive,
we moved
yeah.
in here immediately. So crappy wall color, we could live with that. We could see
Yeah,
that in the
that's
video.
easy. That's
Mhm.
So
easy.
that was, you know, that was an easy fix, but I swear to goodness, it will only take them a couple of hours to tear apart this kitchen because it's so like you can, I almost can see just one good pull will bring down the cupboard.
Mm. Well, okay,
So-
but real estate, this is a big
Uh,
deal. With her, with using this example, I mean, you talk to people, leaders all over the world, and people, Savannah is a
Mhm.
prominent city on the map, right? And it's known for its architecture. It's known also for its university and art schools, and you know, SCAD, isn't it SCAD? I think it is.
Yeah, it's SCAD, yeah.
SCAD. And because I remember when we first went to Savannah, we didn't even know we were
Right.
going to spend the night. Nancy were going, "What's a SCAD? Are you a SCAD?"
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
what's a
Am I a
SCAD?
SCAD? We didn't
I
know
don't
what a
know.
SCAD was, but we now know. But
Mhm.
so you're already going, I wouldn't necessarily use her again. So now she's, you know, because you may move from there, because you never know the way you guys travel.
Yeah.
And are you going to recommend, you know, if we decided, hey, we're going to move to Savannah, that recommendation, and as far as I know, real estate is a service industry, even though it's buy and sell, it's also service. So not
Big time.
not having integrity, right? In what she did, unless she is new and not.
Yeah, and this is someone who has been in the real estate market for, I mean, her whole career. So probably, I think she said 30 years.
Oh,
Ooh.
So
ouch.
I'm not, you know, and part of it is, and here I'll make this, is that I take it both ways. Maybe we didn't ask the right questions.
Mm.
No,
But then she should be good enough at 30
She should be
years
good
to
enough
ask
to
you
fill in
enough
the
questions.
blanks.
Yeah, that's a Q&A. So like, you
Yeah.
know, we, you know, as we
Mhm.
travel the country full time and on our Love Your Parks tour, we pet sit. And, you know, that's something that happened during COVID. It's become a different lifestyle, new, and it's awesome. And, you know, sometimes things are like, oh, we should have asked this, and same for each person. So
We learn every time.
we now have a
Yeah.
list. I mean, all the way down to, okay, do you have batteries for smoke detectors? How do you smoke detectors work? Because if you have a dog that you've,
Mm.
you know, freshly rescued and the smoke detector goes off with a
The dog
battery,
goes
the
bonkers.
dog could absolutely have, you know, a heart attack kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
there's all kinds of little things, and it sounds really mundane, even if someone's just going away for a weekend, but that can really annoy your neighbors. It can really hurt a dog and a relationship. Someone could get bitten if the dog is that freaked out. So
Yes.
these things catapult. So the devil's in the details, I think, with
Mhm.
you know, relationships in business and just in it is about asking the right questions.
And listening. You know, we talk about communication, and I said, I think communication is one of the most important aspects. And being able to ask the questions so that you understand what's important to the person who is buying the house. And then when we were selling, it was obviously, it was a lot easier to sell the house than it was to find the house and then move. But even for the real estate agent to be able to listen to what people's needs are, so they can point out, like, if this is important, look at this. So when the couple were buying our house, they had already made the offer, so it was kind of a done deal. But they came over and they said, wow, the floors look like they're in really great condition. Now, this house that we sold in Philadelphia was 120 years old.
Wow.
And I said, oh, you know what? Carpets hide a multitude of sins. So if you're going to be spending money, one of the things you might want to do is get the floor refinished. And they went, wow, it looks really good. And I went, you know, it's okay. And here's some other things that you should be aware of. And I took them around, like they had bought the house. So it was, and showed them, here's what we were planning on doing. And here's what you might be looking for. It didn't ruin the relationship that we had with the new tenants. It actually enhanced it, because they went, they could see what the house had to offer. When we go back to Philadelphia, they said, well, you'll have to come and see the house.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You're talking about potential, what could be done with the right kind of thought process and energy, and of course, money.
What happens if the realtor wasn't new in the game, like new in business? Because competence is also, I mean, obviously this lady, 30 years, competence should be there.
Yeah, you would think.
But if someone's new, because they're, to me, I sometimes would rather deal with a new person. Yeah, because sometimes they'll go further than someone who's been in it for a long time, who thinks they know everything, and it's just kind of like a.
This is true. They'll ask more questions, possibly.
Yeah, and I know people hire people. Sometimes I would just want someone fresh who hasn't been taught a bunch of bad habits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in this circumstance, what would you say in regards to real estate? Because you have to start somewhere. On the real estate persons, the realtors, they have to start somewhere. But what would you say?
If I were to suggest something, I would say, make sure that you ask one extra question, even if you think that you know, ask the question that confirms what you think you know. So your assumption, that confirms your assumption. So especially if you're working with a buyer. Right now, I mean, I talk to people who were just, they were making quick decisions. Like we say about this condo that we bought, this condo apartment that we bought, I've spent more time trying to figure out if I should buy the expensive pair of boots than we spent buying this condominium. That was a little bit more than an expensive pair of boots. And so you have to, honestly, the realtor that we're working with, if I could have made a suggestion, it would have been, make sure you ask enough questions that you know exactly what we're looking for, that when you see it, we can move forward. Now, there was a lot of things that she picked up that were important to us.
Good.
And this community offers that. It's diverse. It's lots of diversity with the people who are living here. There's young families, old families. There's people of different races and colors, and old and young and everything. And it has a lot of amenities that we like. So swimming pool, gym and everything. So she obviously got all of that right. It's the actual unit, the condition that it was in. It would have been great if we would have heard, here's what I noticed. The paint job isn't that great. We would have said, that's an easy fix. And then the kitchen's pretty dated. You have to know that when you come in here, it's probably the original kitchen. And I'm trying to
Wow.
remember, did she say that and we ignored it? Who knows?
Hmm.
You know, like, so I wish she would have asked more questions. I wish we would have asked more questions.
Mhm,
At the end of the day, it's the buyer's responsibility,
mhm,
not the realtor's. It's the buyer's responsibility. So,
mhm.
you know, you have to have someone that you're really comfortable working with that will educate you on what needs to be asked, because a lot of the things I didn't think of asking. With someone with that much experience, I wish we would have had a little bit more assistance.
You know,
Mhm.
it's interesting.
Yeah, it's true. I see
I have a
that.
friend who was selling a lot of land, business, with it could be hospitality property, which could have been done in so many different ways, and historic, also residential. I mean, just all kinds of properties. And watching the realtor was, you know, she'd been in it for a long time, but doing the hospitality part of it, just she had this mental block. And whereas our friend could see all the multiple avenues that someone could come in, turn it into like a resort, they could turn it
Mm.
into a retreat, a yoga retreat, they could turn it, split it into Airbnb things. This property, I mean, is amazing. And she kept up with all the permits, all the stuff you have to do. And the realtor who she had been dealing with for a long time, oh, that'll never happen here. And oh, no, like, oh, you know, we don't need to go to LA. And she was in a region where you do, because this area was like a hot market. I mean, that's like Palm Desert area. Like that is a hot market, literally. But just a little sunny,
Maybe
you
too
know.
hot, but yeah.
But you know,
Mm.
but there's a lot of LA people moving out and that have the investors. And so her attitude pretty much left it. And she actually went after the photographer, like the photos and everything, and told our friend, you can't use these photos, you can't do this and that. And we found out that she didn't even list the property on all these websites that you're supposed to list the property. So
Mhm.
she couldn't get into this hospitality mind. She was just in her own bubble and not, you know, but when she, and at the same time, she had the other listings for other home properties that our friend was selling. So she lost it all,
Mhm.
basically, because of her attitude. Well, you can't use those photos. Our agency paid for them. And our friend was like, excuse me, I actually, you know, so it
Paid
was a
for them.
very,
Yeah.
so that
Mhm.
relationship, she just got pissy because that property, the big property, got pulled away because she hadn't done anything with it for a few years. And that's not funny. Um,
Mhm.
and so she got snippy, and then, you know, that is not how you work with a client, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're not good at doing, you know, commercial real estate, and you're used to, you know, single family homes, well, then you either need to work with your person, your client, like you're saying, and ask
Mhm.
questions and work together and say, okay, it's new for me, but let's see what we can do and brainstorm and work together
Mhm.
and explore this together and get help, you know, from other realtors, etc. She totally just went into this like deer in the headlights,
Actually,
closed-minded.
no, she's just lazy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
well,
we
here's
both.
the difference between the two
Yeah.
realtors. So Lori, who sold our place in Philadelphia, when we moved down here, she had a gift for us for welcoming us in, and she didn't sell us this place. She had referred somebody who helped,
Mhm.
but she had a gift for us for moving into the new place. And then we've gotten a note from her since then saying, how are you settling into your new place?
That's nice.
Haven't heard anything from the realtor who
Yeah.
sold us this place. You know, and part of my expectation is I'm used to dealing with realtors that when you move into a place, they say, here's your welcome gift for your new place. Nothing like that. Like those little things. Okay,
Mhm.
it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. It adds up, because trust is not built in the huge things. It's the million little things
Mhm. Mhm.
that build trust. It's the things that
Exactly.
Lori does, and she just does it because I think she really is that person. Are you settling in okay? Are you meeting some people? How are
Mm.
things going? And she'll just send that because that's her personality. Whereas the realtor who sold us this place, radio silence, haven't heard anything since we signed the paperwork.
See,
Wow.
that's like the one I was talking
That's,
about.
yeah,
Like even, our friend
That's
would contact,
lazy.
hey, have you done this? Hey, I've got this opportunity. Oh, that'll never work. That's all she got. Oh, that'll never work. And our friend had the finances to put
Mm.
behind, advertising and all kinds of things for this.
mm-hmm.
Oh, it'll never work. And that,
Well,
then,
it did.
yeah, anyway, she lost
It
out.
did.
The property is sold. So
Yeah.
she lost out. But it's just that attitude. And you're right. It should be that continued communication in real estate. You'd never know when you may want to move back to Philadelphia, or you have a friend moving there. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not just about a quick sale. That to me, we had that happen with a property we purchased where this woman, we just thought she knew the area better than we did. And she supposedly did. And she did some things that actually turned out to be illegal, and we had to go after her, and we won.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole other story. But
big trust
Good
breaker
one, though.
when you have to go after someone legally.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing. But so I think, a home is a personal
Yeah.
thing.
Mm.
And buying a commercial is also a personal thing, because it's about employees maybe being in that space representing someone's business. It's all a very big, it's not flippant. This is not a quick sale, get out kind of thing. And it never
Yeah.
should be. I don't think
Mm.
any business in service, in retail, I don't care what it is. It should never be, here's your hamburger, goodbye.
No, but
That's not, it
this
should
is-
never be. You know what I mean?
It
Yeah.
just it boils down to, are you doing what your calling is? Are you doing what you want to do
Mm.
in your job, in your business, whether you're working for someone else or you're working for yourself? Are you doing what you believe you were meant to do, or is it just a job? When it's just a job, corners are cut, the empathy, the energy, the feel, did I do my best attitude, a lot of times isn't there.
Yeah.
So if you're not in a career working your way up for something you want, or it's not the kind of job you want, and you're doing it to get by, that is probably why you're just getting by, because you're not putting that extra care and attention, and it's like divorce from part of you.
Maybe she lost her passion.
Well, there could be a lot of reasons for a lot of things, or a lot of excuses for a lot of things. In what you're talking about, I just found her to be lazy and non-caring. So lazy and non-caring equals bad performance. She's not in the job she should be
Nancy
in.
just wants to go, you suck.
Yeah, okay,
But,
she sucked. She
Even
sucked.
if someone is working and it's not, maybe they're calling, maybe it's something else, recognizing that the gift that you're giving people is to give them a home. And so to be able to perceive what you're doing in a different light. So if you say, well, selling real estate isn't what I want to do, but is helping someone find a home to build a life, something that brings you passion, is being able to make a good enough living that you can support your family and take them on wonderful vacations, is maybe that's something that fuels you. So right. I think we all have the capacity to take whatever job there is. Did you ever watch, his name is it Mike? Oh, and he does Dirty Jobs. Mike.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I
know. And he's the one who's talking that everyone needs to go back to learning skills and putting them back in schools.
And what he talks about is there are no jobs that are beneath us, that every job we do brings value to the world. And so if you're doing a job that, if you're saying, well, I'm going to sell real estate because I just want to make money and I don't care, you're not going to be successful. I don't think you're going to be very good, going to what you said, Nancy. But if you say, I'm working in real estate, it might not be what my purpose is, but I'm going to help someone find the home that they that makes their world better. I'm going to help sell a home so that a person can get out of crushing debt,
Mhm.
and then put it into a personal emotional category that actually makes you feel good about what you're doing.
Exactly, because where's that part of you, no matter what the job is, I'm going to do it the best that I can
Yeah,
do it,
you know,
because I have that internal, I want to feel good about what I do.
I want to
Yeah.
sleep
And
at night.
whether it's, I mean, I used to babysit kids and I used to clean houses. And I left those houses spotless because I care about what I do. Did I want to be a house cleaner for the rest of my life? No. But when I was doing it, I did it well.
It's doing what you say you're going to do. It's keeping your commitment
yeah,
and feeling good about it.
Trust. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and
Mhm.
going back to, you know, the positive, like a friend of mine, she worked in the real estate industry, but she wasn't selling houses or anything yet, but she was working in a major office and picking up on it. And actually, a lot of sales came from her telephone expertise and her customer communication. And they were like, you need to do this. And I want to say, like, if you're going to get into real estate, listen, those licensing things and all of that, that's a
That-
pain in the butt.
It
So
is.
you better have some, you know, emotional attachment to go. It's
Yeah.
like trying to be a lawyer, you know. And so she, you know, had her children. And as soon as they got older, she went back into it. In the meantime, settled in a different community that she loved, got involved in the schools, the community, learned about gardening, learned about fixing houses. Her and her husband, her first sale was, okay, we're going to sell our house. We're going to go through this process ourselves, you know, and I'm going to really learn. And she's now a successful real estate agent, and a realtor in an area that is also very hot, Southern California market, and doing really well at it. And she, you know, she loves it, but she always had that thing. She wanted people to be cozy, just like you're saying, in their home, but she was also a huge advocate for her community. So even if she was new in the real estate market, I would go to her because she would listen. What do you
cares.
want? This is exciting for
cares.
her to find that match. And it's exciting about, she's excited, like, oh, do you have a kids going into this school? What kind of school? You know, that is someone I would go and say, hey, I want you to represent my sale or whatever it is, because she's passionate
Yeah.
about it. And
And
you don't have
cares.
to be in it for 20 years to be good at it if you really
Yeah.
are
No, you
passionate of it
don't.
and have a commitment. She did her work even when she wasn't working with her, you know, she had 3 kids back to back. So while she was going through all of that, she kept her finger on it and in it, and her, you know what I mean? So I think that is, when we talk about trust, she's a perfect example of it, because, you know, she lives it. She loves it, you know?
Yeah. You know, and what we kind of talked about earlier is that I trust a person more who will tell me what's wrong or what won't work. And so that's one of the things. And then the other thing is, from a real estate agent, if they give you the wrong information, or if they tell you, well, here's what's going on, as soon as you found out you made a mistake, instead of, again, don't hide it, call and say, listen, I gave you bad information and I needed to get back in touch with you right away because here's what I found. So there's the whole thing. And someone said, why don't you have truth telling as part of your model? Well, a lot of it is because a lot of times it's an opinion, but if the facts don't come, you know, like if you learn some facts and they're not the ones that you originally told, you get back to the person right away and you take responsibility and you own it. Listen, I heard this and it's wrong. I heard new information. I recognize that the original information I gave you, I thought it was correct. I felt confident when I told you, but it's crap. It's not true. And you need to know this. The area that I was told that it's an up and coming neighborhood, well, it might take longer than I originally, whatever the information is.
Right. That's true.
You need
Be honest.
to assess up, you know, like, oh my gosh, like, in fact, as I'm saying this, I recognize I need to get in touch with the people here about a mistake I made.
Ah.
Fess up.
I know, I hate that. I hate it, but you have to do it, and it feels
Well,
better
hey,
because
but
otherwise it
we're,
nags on you.
but
Yeah.
we're all human. There's no
Mhm.
way you're going to get through this
Mhm.
life without making mistakes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when you do, then the best remedy is to fess up and say, I'm sorry, and do what you can to make it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to
Well-
pretend you didn't or gloss over it. You know, I worked for this one company in a different country where the first part of my training was what they called the slick words. And it really irritated me because
Okay.
because they said these are the words that work because they're slick. And my connotation of the word slick is a little bit underhanded, like you're
I
not
think
being,
it's slimy, slick,
yeah, it's
slimy,
kind of when you
sleazy,
say
all those
when you-
S words. Yeah.
yeah, it's a slick.
Snake
You
oil.
know, and
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, is it because I'm in a different country? But as I got into the job, I was like, okay, I see where you're going with this. So I had to move on because I felt like I was being taught to con people.
Yeah. That feels.
And you don't know until I think it was about the end of the first month where you're just finally going to get your paycheck and they use slick words about
Right.
why you hadn't got it before. And so I just had to, softly
Hey,
move
I
on.
sold cars for a month.
So I want to hear, now I'm curious because I want to hear a few slick words.
Oh, okay. I was selling directory listings in a kind of
Like a phone
well,
book,
this-
like a yellow pages,
yes, but it was
like a local.
this company's own select directory. So when you wrote up you got their person's name and phone number, and the slick words came into the description of the person's business. Okay, so let's say you were a car dealership. You're the biggest and the best and the one everybody trusts. The slick words, the trust word. Having, yeah.
Oh, I want to ask
okay.
about that.
Yeah,
We are number
because
one trusted.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
saying everybody trusts this. So if you don't buy from them, you're an idiot.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
it.
So Lee,
No,
the
but
trust
that-
word became a slick word.
Oh, no.
No, but think about it.
Mhm.
Trust me. How
That's
much?
why I actually named the book. Trust me, someone said,
Mm,
oh my God, you can't use that because it's actually the opposite. And I
mhm.
went, but that's why I want to use it because
Yes.
Yeah.
I think whenever you hear the word trust me, you think the opposite. So I wanted to own that and then
And
restore belief and
Yeah.
confidence.
Exactly.
Because trust me,
That's full frontal to me. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, but in this company, they had a formula. So after a while, I realized after reading a whole page of directory listings
of slick words.
of slick words, and
The directory is
everything
all the
ended,
same.
and everything ended with trust me, I'm the best, kind of, or trust me, I'm better than the best. I was like, this is so BS.
Yeah.
So I wrote my own directory things based on what I saw. And I think I lasted 3.5 weeks. And then they said, we really like what you're writing. You're becoming the new slick words. And I was like, oh, that hurt. I'm out of here.
Mm.
Oh,
Because
no.
because I didn't want to be that. Because I'm like, I'm just doing what they did. But I was doing things like, okay, let's say car dealership isn't always the cleanest you may want, but our cars really run well. Trust me.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I mean, it was a really valuable experience. But and then I started thinking, who's using these directories anyway?
Mm. This is
Yeah.
way before the internet,
Yeah.
right? This
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah, this is way.
I mean, this is
into-
via,
like,
back in the day
you
where
know
we
who
all
I'm
had
talking
phone
about,
books.
Lisa,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's
Ugh, that was bad.
yeah. I mean, advertising has the slick words, the buzzwords,
Yeah.
I mean, even now with all this digital marketing, there's, I mean, people talking in things that you've, I mean, it's like worse than emojis,
Mhm.
what is that? I know what an eggplant is, but anyway,
Yeah.
we can't have one interview go by without something like that, right? But that's I think there's something that is also used in communication where people are trying to make themselves bigger and the be all know it all,
Mhm.
using buzzwords and
Mhm.
just lingo, slick words to maybe not necessarily falsify, but try to, prop themselves up instead of just doing their job. You know what I mean? Making themselves bigger than what they really are,
Mhm.
and I think that comes down to it.
Yeah.
Real estate is very interesting to me because you can get someone
That's
who's been in the
big.
community for a while and be like, I know everybody in the community. I know this person. I like a name
Mhm.
dropper of I know. And that can become
Irritating.
that isn't where I was going earlier about being a community person, passionate, but
Mm.
it shouldn't be like, I know,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
that can also ruin a relationship
Yeah.
in that kind of thing.
So
Well, that's not really passion.
No,
That's just talk about yourself amongst yourself.
Mm.
That
Mhm.
is not passion.
but that's
Passion
inflating
is-
yourself. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Yeah.
for those who and probably not very many people, like Lisa and Nancy know this, so I'm kind of putting it out there for the rest, that there's work that I'm still doing. So I still do the trust work. I'm still working with companies, but I'm also being trained as an end of life doula. And for
Mm.
those of you who don't know what that is, look it up, because it would take more than just a couple of minutes.
That's
But
going to be a
one
whole
of the-
other show we do down the road here.
Mm.
one of the things that I'm learning is that people want to know the right thing to say to someone who is going through grief, or, is there, and so it made me think of this slick. You don't want to be slick when you're dealing with someone's grief. But one of the things that I've learned is that just accept the fact that you're going to mess it up. You're going to say the wrong thing. And when you say the wrong thing at a time when people are very vulnerable, you go back and say, what I said didn't come across right, or it isn't what I meant to say.
Mhm.
At this moment, I don't know what to say. So it is authenticity and being vulnerable and telling, like letting the person know that you really see them. And that's where the care shows. So whether or not it's working with someone in real estate or with the work that I do, which I think is so so special and so sacred, that you just show up
Mhm.
Mhm.
and be authentic and listen to people, and then make sure that you're representing who they are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly. So I should never have said the eggplant emoji. Is that
You
what
can
you're saying?
absolutely say the
I'm being
eggplant.
authentic.
Honestly, I haven't found that just because someone's dying, they completely lose their sense of humor. That
See,
sometimes
that-
the
No.
best thing to do is to be able to laugh with them.
Exactly. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, because sometimes
And-
it's a big relief.
And
You need
and
to laugh.
humor during real estate, going back to that, the real estate thing, purchasing and selling is a very stressful thing. It involves big
Mhm.
finances. It involves moving, and everybody gets crabby.
It's such an
Moving is a
upheaval.
crabby thing, like we were saying, and it's
Mhm.
exciting at the same time. So
Yeah.
everyone's in this flux of emotions. So
Mhm.
it's also, you are allowed to say eggplant emoji and all kinds of other, you could use the poopy emoji. I like the
Yeah.
poopy emoji. You can do all of that,
Oh
so
my
have fun
gosh.
with it as
Yeah,
best you
absolutely. Yeah.
can. A sense of humor is, everybody needs to release steam
You
and
really need a sense of humor to be
Exactly.
alive.
Just to
On
be
this-
alive. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to do whatever it
really
is we
do.
need to do.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Lee, thank you again. Always fun having you on the show. Everyone go to thetrustarchitect.biz And of course, keep up with us here at bigblendradio.com. Lee is here every third Thursday. We get to talk about trust. And of course, we're going to have to delve into the whole world of being a death doula and talking about grief, and because
Yeah.
that is all part of trust. And I
Yeah.
think that's something exciting what you're doing, and a beautiful thing what you're doing is really what it is. So thank you so much. And we'll chat next time soon. And listen, here's the thing about your kitchen. It is exciting, and you could put eggplant emojis all over it. Now,
Okay.
Yeah.
What's with the
but-
eggplant?
no, I actually found out I'm allergic to it, eggplant
Yeah.
now, but that
Okay.
sounds totally weird now. But anyway, your new kitchen, you're going to love it because it's what you want.
Yes.
So it's actually turns out to be going to be a cool thing that you walk in and it's going to be a kitchen that you say, oh, this is exactly what I want. It'll be a brand new home.
Yeah.
And exciting, and it's got your stamp of you in there. So
Absolutely.
I say
And
good
when
for
you
it.
two come to Savannah in December,
Mhm.
hopefully you'll be able to get away from whatever house that you're at and come on over.
Oh, we're seeing you. No matter what,
Come
we're
see
seeing
you.
you. There's no
Yeah.
way,
Mm.
we are seeing you when we get to Savannah for sure.
Mhm.
That's
That's
a
great.
must.
Just
Yeah.
so we can bring you an eggplant.
I'm bringing you an eggplant. All right. Thanks so much, Lee.
Thank you.